Welcome back to the Square. I am your host, Curtis the Fifth.
And I'm Curtis the Fourth.
Today is Tuesday, November 2nd. That would be NFL trade deadline day, but that has come and gone now that it is 3 p.m. Central Time, 4 p.m. Eastern. All the trades are in, and only, I guess, two spectacular things have happened. We'll get into it later. But we'll kind of recap Week 8 as we always do, just kind of look over some of the key games. We'll look ahead at the kind of news and storylines from this week. We'll take a look at the injury report, take care of the power rankings this week, and make our game picks to wrap things up. And let's kick things off with the Week 8 recap. An abysmal week for our game picks. I feel sorry for anybody who listened to either one of us.
I would say unless we really got a real hot take on one of these things, I wouldn't listen too much to it at this point because
That's two back-to-back
I'm questioning myself about these picks.
abysmal weeks.
I feel really good picking them, but when the game started, I completely questioned what the hell was I thinking. You know, because these games haven't been close. Like they had a couple of they should have won that. It went the other way. There's not a lot of those though.
No.
So it's really like a what the hell moment.
Well, one of those that was close that should have gone the other way. Let's take it all the way back to Thursday. Green Bay takes on Arizona. AJ Green, what the hell? Come on, man. Get your head around.
Was that really a mental error? Like,
I don't know what that was.
That's what I'm left with. Like, I can't say it was, but I certainly can't say it wasn't either. It's just, I swear, if there was ever a point shaving moment, that stuff like this, because I mean, I'm sorry, if that was like Rondale Moore, Christian Kirk, you would have had me. I wouldn't even question it. AJ Green, really? I'm just
10-year vet?
Yeah, I'm not.
You know better than that.
Yeah, I'm not even game on the line. He looked completely focused and ready to go when they snap the ball, but somewhere in the next 5 to 7 yards, the man goes to sleep in the middle of the play.
Yeah.
Game's on the line, seconds left in the game, and a what the hell moment? Like, what was that? And I'm sitting there looking like, okay, there's flags got to be somewhere because I'm confused.
Yeah,
as all get out. Like, what just happened here? And
like, let me be fair. I do think Kyler Murray. I want to say you don't throw that ball, but I get it. I understand why he threw it. Obviously, you have AJ Green did everything right in that play. You get up, you jam, you're right on his toes. He can't go around you unless he wants a PI call and give you another shot at it. Then he has to make contact with you, and he can't go around you. You face guarded him so well, and legally, by the way. It wasn't like you were making contact that you weren't supposed to. That was a very legal play that AJ Green did. Everything was right up until the moment you're literally all you have to do is turn around and the ball is in your hands. You have a touchdown. You're winning this game, and you just move on all hunky dory. Nobody even bats an eye at what just happened. But that pick, like both the picks in this game by Kyler Murray are neither one of them are his fault.
No.
I think you just turn around AJ Green and who was it? Christian Kirk or was
Rondale Moore pops it in the air. I don't know what the
how do you let that go right through your hands?
And he had 2 snafus that game. So I'm having a real serious problem with AJ Green and Rondale Moore right now because it's just it's these mental mistakes that I see. Maybe it's just because my bias, maybe because I'm paying more attention when it's the Packers. I just see this when this time and time again when I see an opponent go against the Packers. You see plays like this, giving up these big time game changing turnaround plays and
I felt it coming into this game. It was one of these games with the Packers where you're just like everybody's talking down about them. Everybody's like, okay, they don't have 3 of their top wide receivers, and I was like, stop saying it. If you keep mentioning it, it's going to become a thing where Aaron Rodgers just takes over. And he did. I mean, he utilized Robert Tonyan until he went out with his injury. Did that end up being an ACL tear?
I believe so.
So he goes down. AJ Dillon had a career game. Arizona was not able to stop AJ Dillon or Aaron Jones for that matter. or Aaron Rodgers. I mean, Randall Cobb gets 2 touchdowns in this game. Like the only wide receiver that they have, you're not going to cover him. I had a real hard issue with the Arizona scheme where you're like, you really only have 2 things to stop.
Right.
Stop the run game and take care of this one wide receiver that they have available to him. Obviously, he would be able to, like, maybe Robert Tunyon would have had a bigger day if you would have keyed in on Cobb a little bit more, but I'll take the risk of Robert Tunyon going off as opposed to A.J. Dillon and Randall Cobb going off.
True. I mean, Arizona didn't come in at 100% defensively. I mean, of course, we know
J.J. Watt was down.
I would say we obviously seen it in their run game because, I mean, I would expect this, Aaron Jones is going to do what Aaron Jones is going to do. But when you see A.J. Dillon finally step up and
16 for 78, miss me. That's not happening again this season.
16 carries, that's starter numbers.
Yeah.
Like that's not I mean, you could sit there and say they split carries, but no, there were 2 starting running backs running out here, 16 and 15 carries respectively. I'm like, that's when you start seeing there's a gaping hole in the middle of their defense right now. And they just shredded all throughout the game. Kept it close. But like again, I cannot emphasize these big turnovers enough because you take away the Rondale Moore touch, no touch. I touched it. I'm act like I didn't touch it, kind of thing. Because the way he acted, I was kind of like, okay, obviously he didn't touch it because he didn't make any play on it. I'm like, dude, who are you freaking gonna fool? You can't fool 27 cameras out there. You just can't. And what? 6.5 billion, a million people who watch the game.
Yeah.
Get out of here. It was one of those like that did not just really happen, and it really happened. And okay, the Packers get the ball, and within the 5,
literally knocking on the door.
Right.
Like,
I mean, you just gave them another 7 points right there. But what I'm saying, you lose 24-21.
It's plays like
Stuff
that.
Like
it's
that.
close.
Like
right.
Right.
Those are the fine margins, especially on a short week Thursday night primetime game. You can't make those mistakes at home. That's the other thing.
And
you're at home.
You're in Green Bay. Okay, kind of expected. We see this all the time. No, and that's that. This game was unacceptable for me.
Yeah, I did not like the way Arizona came out to play. And there's a couple of teams this week where I'm like, yeah, I mean, like, you're going to get got at some point. Nobody's going to go perfect. Nobody's going to go 17-0. But these are the types of things where it's like, I guess this comes into what we were saying before the season, and what I was saying specifically is just that this is such a young team. I don't know if they're going to be able to overcome mental errors in the small, fine mistakes, those fine details that you need to win games like this. These are the things that I was concerned about coming into the season. Kind of thought that I guess, especially with having, like you said, J.J. Watt out, that I guess that veteran leadership to kind of get everybody to kind of lock in at that point kind of goes away.
Right.
But there's got to be other guys on the team to step up and kind of get a grip on things. I mean, in AJ Green, you got to lead by example, dude. Like, you cannot make a mental mistake in that crunch time part of the game. Literally 12 seconds were left on the clock. This is now or never, and you cannot have a mental error at that point, and expect to win games. You just really, really can't. And I think that play alone just cost them the game. So yeah, that play just kind of everything falls apart with that play. You can't, where you just have to be able to get your head around, because again, as a leader, AJ Green cannot be the one to cost them this game at this point. And so now they're 7-1, and now they're, I think, 3rd place in the NFC with that loss, or maybe 2nd still. But that's just a play you can't have if you want to stay on top.
That's true. Yeah, and it was just one of them kind of games. Again, not a fan of the Thursday night game.
Yeah,
it's this short week stuff is just, from a competitive standpoint, I just think it just puts both teams at a disadvantage, and you start seeing all this weird stuff happening, especially when you got these marquee teams. I'm like I was saying, I thought Thursdays worked well for your 2 and the 2 team, 1 team, no team wins type.
Yeah.
Those kind of lower level matchups that won't get any play really on Sunday. You can highlight them on Thursday. It's early in the week. People are gonna watch it. We want football, but Yeah, I don't want to see the Jets in Houston on Sunday. I will watch them on Thursday.
Yeah.
It's kind of like because there's nothing else going on. But
Speaking of, we have the Jets on Thursday this week. So,
yeah,
but with a team that I would rather see on Sunday. But speaking of Sunday, couple of good ones here. Some really ones that just irk me. But let's start with Carolina taking on the Falcons. Carolina gets the win on the road. I mean, Matt Ryan had kind of the goriest injury of the week, I guess. Had his foot stepped on, and he was bleeding all over the place. So
I heard. I didn't see it.
Oh God, it was the videos of it are nasty. You can see him get stepped on. I mean, obviously, we all know how cleats are and how they can really cut you up, but it didn't look as bad when he stepped on his hand. And then he gets up and he's using his towel. There's blood all over. He's got the white pants on. There's blood all down his leg, and you're like, "What the hell happened to you, dude? You just get caught up by Jason or something? Like, what's going on?"
Exactly. This Halloween feature.
I know. Even fitting, it was on Halloween Day. So, man, it just did not look good. But Panthers pull off the win. Like I said, 19-13. Chuba Hubbard had a day. 24 carries, 82 yards, and a touchdown. We did lose Sam Darnold in this game to a concussion. So hoping that he gets back healthy, but it's kind of just left up in the air. I mean, this is one of those games where Atlanta, you can't have Matt Ryan go out there for 146 and a touchdown. Like that, he's got to do more, especially when you have put 0 other pieces around him. He's got to do more.
Yeah, and 2 interceptions and 3 sacks is not it.
Yeah,
it's. I'm sorry. The next person to call this dude Matty Ice one more time, and I'm like, I'm so down on this guy. I'm not saying he should be out the league. I'm just his hype is about as accurate as the hype that his former player was, Mr. Julio Jones.
Oh yeah, we
just
got thoughts on that one.
I mean, this Atlanta's talent has been so overrated. Yet we can shred the team and the franchise up, and no one bats an eyelash. But when it comes to these two guys, just the narratives that come out, and I mean, what are y'all seeing that I'm not seeing? Because I just don't see it. From either one of the. I mean, we were talking about Matt Ryan right now.
Yeah.
I don't see what. This is what I was when I seen this. This is about what I expected, and then look what the final score is.
They lose by 6. Picking them. Well, you must have saw something. You're over there picking them.
It ain't got nothing to do with Matt Ryan.
I know.
It has absolutely nothing to do with him.
You thought Cordell Patterson was going to take over this game?
I was hoping so, and obviously he didn't because he decided they just wanted to win. They wanted him to be really a running back today, not a wide receiver. I'm like, okay, no Calvin Ridley, no Cordell Patterson. Why not? Let's leave Matt Ryan with virtually no options here. And yeah, you got Kyle Pitts, who obviously the Panthers defense keyed in on this guy to make sure you're not going to lose by this guy, and a Mike Davis is going to have to beat us. A Matt Ryan is going to have to beat us.
And they couldn't get it done.
Exactly. Because
they also lost Calvin Ridley before this game. No, he's sitting out with mental health issues. So
that's what I'm getting at. It's just like, okay, but I don't like the game usage. Like, Patterson was, he was 5 targets, 5 for 37, 5 for 37. That's it. That can't be your number 2 leading receiver, And where was Russell Gage? A complete no-show.
Russell Gage can only perform when he has somebody else in front of him. And if he's the number 1 wide receiver, clearly.
Well, obviously they had everyone in front of him because he doesn't even have a registered target. So this my point is I don't. Atlanta, you fooled me. Y'all that team, and I thought y'all was making a turn, and I was really high on them last week. So I'm very disappointed. More disappointed in myself for believing that the team actually made the turn. So it is what it is. Kudos to Carolina. I'm not impressed by the win.
It was a horrible game. It was a snooze fest of all snooze fest.
And the Chuba Hubbard thing didn't really get going into the second half.
I know,
which is kind of like they just finally realized.
24 carries for 82 yards is still like. It's a very quiet game. Like, it looked quiet when you're watching the game, but like he actually had himself a day in the second half.
Exactly. I was gonna say, and let me be clear, he didn't have like 12 carries by the half.
No, 24 carries.
Most of that came in the second half. Like they just finally realized, hey, we got Chuba Hubbard on our team. Let's just go with this guy. I'm like,
especially late. I mean, they were just like, well, we got to get out of here. Like, We gotta finish this game. Wrap it up. Give it to Chuba.
and I mean that was a very nice piece in crescendo to their victory, you know, and basically they were just control the ball and control the clock with
Yeah.
Chuba Hubbard down the stretch. So, congratulations, Carolina, once again. I don't understand or know who y'all are, so yeah,
They are. I think that's what I think they are. What their record is, average.
yeah, 500.
Yeah.
50-50, take it, you know, flip a coin.
They're gonna win some really good games. They're gonna have some really bad losses too at the same time, though. So, which we've already seen. So
Exactly. And
All
they
right.
won a game they should have won, I guess, more than
A
likely.
divisional game. A game that definitely was going to be tough, no matter who the opponent was. But when you're looking at a divisional game at that noon window, just kind of at this point in the season where we're coming up on the midway point, most teams are hitting that 8-game mark already.
Yeah.
You knew it was going to be just a complete slugfest. But another divisional game, Bills, they're back on track after their bye week. They come in and get a win against the Dolphins. Surprising the Dolphins didn't make any moves at the trade deadline, because I guess they're kind of telling everybody we're just gonna self implode and just let this whole thing fall apart this season. Because man,
You would think they would just go ahead and call a press conference and just say what they're doing. But we just sitting here guessing from week to week, and my suspicions came to be what I suspected.
I will say they fought for the first 3 quarters of this game. They just let everything go. They just completely gave up in the fourth quarter, though. They gave up 16 points in the fourth quarter.
But it is Buffalo, and they are Miami, so I mean, not a stretch, you know. But I get it. You know, it is a division rivalry. There's a little, you know, pride to be played for. But at the end of the day, talent usually wins out, and they definitely Buffalo has twice as much talent as Miami does. So
I will definitely. I concur. I concur. One thing I will say, Buffalo got to figure out the rush game. Josh Allen cannot be your leading rusher for any game. I feel, but they really need to lock something in. Maybe they should have been the ones to trade for Marlon Mack.
maybe. I mean, yeah, I won't go too much further than that.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, Buffalo's run game is weird anyway, but they
Not
run
weird.
scheme.
They just don't have guys that can stay healthy.
Well, they got passes healthy right now, and they were healthy in this game, but they didn't run it. So again, I'm saying they have a weird scheme because when they had these struggling running backs, when you had your Singletary and your Moss, and I'm talking about when they were struggling, they did everything possible to keep trying to run the ball, and then all of a sudden they get away from the run completely, you know, or they finally are forced to just pass the ball, you know, just do predominantly you have to pass the ball, and they find success in that, and then they slowly was able to reemerge Zach Moss, and which was a shock to me because he just finally showed up for the first time in his career for these past 4 or 5 weeks, and then we have, you know, Sunday, and like they just really got away from the run game again, and for whatever reason, I don't know. I just think it's a weird scheme.
Yeah.
So I'm not knocking what they do. They actually find a lot of success in it, but yeah, it's week to week. I don't know. That run game is just fickle.
Yeah.
To say the least.
Stay away from it. Speaking of run games, this was a run-heavy game. Next up, Chicago taking on the San Francisco 49ers. 49ers pull out the win on the road, 33-22. I'm not as upset with this loss from Chicago, being that they actually looked like a decent team for most of this game. I am a little bit upset with the kind of self-implosion in the fourth quarter defensively. And I definitely am upset with 2 Jimmy Garoppolo rushing touchdowns. That's not okay. I will never be okay with that. But Elijah Mitchell, he had himself a day, 18 carries for 137 yards. Justin Fields looked pretty good out there, throwing the ball around, getting some. He had a rushing touchdown in this game.
He looked great.
He looked like a franchise QB to me. And that offense is continuing to grow. And the funny thing is, the offense actually looks pretty damn good when you don't have Matt Nagy on the sideline.
Yeah, you noticed that correlation too. I know it's like 1 game sample size, but that's more than enough for me and any self-respecting Bears fan at this point, because we needed to see. I needed to see some type of life out of Justin Fields under this scheme. I don't think anything's wrong with Justin Fields. That's about all I need to say about that.
Yeah.
But the fact that he was able to produce and put out this type of performance, the performance we've been waiting on. I
Yeah.
mean, and it's only going to get better. But I think this was his first legit. Okay, this is what we paid. This is what we moved up in the draft for.
Yep.
Because I mean, 175 and a touchdown in the air. Come on, man, 103 and 1 on the ground.
That's
Russell
literally
Watson.
what we need. Dual threat quarterback that's able to just, if you can freeze these defensive ends and you can freeze these linebackers for just a second, it opens up a whole new world of offense for you. You see it with the Rams. All the crossing routes and all the speed that they have, you see the linebackers get frozen. They're just like, I don't know where they're going with the ball. When you have a dual threat at quarterback, it opens up that entire portion of your playbook. And if you use it properly, which they did in this game, it just fourth quarter wise, they weren't able to get it done. I think the kind of wind was taken out of Chicago's sails when Cairo Santos missed that field goal to tie things up, the point after, and then the defense just after that just was not able to keep pace with the San Francisco offense over there. So they just kind of took it on the chin in the fourth quarter, but they looked like a young, good team for the first three quarters. And I mean, they had the lead going into half. Like they just across the board, they looked like a very, very tough team in this game. And then boom, fourth quarter happens where you get rushing touchdowns from Jimmy Garoppolo and I'm almost positive the Elijah Mitchell. I can't remember. Was that in the fourth quarter too?
He got one.
So
18 for 137. Goodness.
Yeah, just he had himself a day. I like him.
Where the heck did he come from?
He's good. But Chicago, there's going to be some stuff to be figured out management wise after a game like this. So definitely going to be interesting to see how they react in I think their second primetime game of the season going up against Pittsburgh on Monday. So we'll get to that in a later segment here. But speaking of Pittsburgh, they get themselves a win, 4-3 now after they lay the hammer down on Cleveland. That's hyperbole there. 15-10, they come out and pull out this win. So Ben Roethlisberger, 266 and a touchdown. Definitely looking more like that future Hall of Famer.
Old Ben.
Yeah, old Ben. And then Najee Harris. God, this dude. 26 carries, 91 yards, and a touchdown from the literal leap from like the 4-yard line. He scored that touchdown from. It's insane.
He's that good. He's that dude. And this is the sad part, but and I'm only saying this because I have him in fantasy, of course, several leagues, but I'm able to key in on just this guy very specifically. At what point do you just realize you just need to just keep running this guy? Like you can't. I mean, it's almost like at some point in late in the third and the fourth quarter, they went in on pitch count with him, and they're like, "Well, let's get other people involved." I'm like, but if you have a weapon here that no one stop right now. They could, Cleveland you had Cleveland reeling on their heels virtually the whole game defensively, and they kept coming with this air attack thing, and I'm like, it was fine, but it wasn't that kind of game, and if Najee Harris basically was having his way. I understand he had 26 carries. This was one of them games I think he could have legitimately had 36. And no one would have, would have batted eyelash to this. I mean, because no one was really stopping him. I mean, yeah, maybe they didn't want to get his yards average per carry down or whatever the case, or they didn't feel like they want to run him into the ground. But I'm like, were you really running him into the ground with 26 carries? I'm like,
I mean, anything above 22, 23 carries tends to get like a lot, especially. I mean, you look back at their days with Le'Veon Bell, they were doing 30, 35 carries a game with him, 35 touches a game. And it's like, dude, can we save him for the postseason maybe? Just maybe take a tick back, especially when you have a guy like Antonio Brown at the time. But I do give a little bit more credence to it now that they don't have a guy like Antonio Brown on the outside, and your best threat is Deontay Johnson,
and you barely got a Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah,
and it was just one of those, and how the game is close, so you're trying to control the clock. It just everything spoke to run the ball, or at least run it a little bit more. And it seemed like the further they got along in the game, the more
Got
they
your
was getting
win.
away
Stop trying
from.
to get
No,
running
no,
up the
no,
score
no,
on
no.
me. God,
It should have
but
been.
he played me this week.
Yes.
That's what it is.
And he should have had 3 touchdowns. But moving on.
Beat
I
the
just thought
crap
he
out
should.
of me.
I mean, considering he had 26 carries, the man should have had probably 36, 40 carries. I mean, just in how the game script was playing. But they held on 15-10. They got it done. I mean, you didn't have to run them, too much into the ground. And solid game all the way around. I mean, it was a defensive battle,
Yeah.
as you can see. It wasn't a whole lot of touchdowns going to go around here, but
3 total touchdowns on the game, I believe.
yeah.
Yeah, but Cleveland though, there's some concerns. There are injuries everywhere. I don't I don't understand the offense right now, and I guess the question going around now is the offense broken? Kinda, yeah. Not getting Jarvis involved. I mean, you got Nick Chubb going at the beginning of the game, kind of tapered off towards the end because you had to start throwing the ball more. And then just no OBJ whatsoever in this game. And just everything about this game was just like, okay, when are we going to get this figured out? And is this Baker's shoulder injury really enabling or disabling him from getting the ball down the field? Is that really going to be a major concern? If it is, why are we not sitting him? Why are we not going with Case Keenum? Like, there's just so many questions with Cleveland right now. And I know Kevin Stefanski came out and was talking about how he needs to get OBJ more involved in the offense. But okay, you're just now realizing that? Like, I feel like that's something that we were talking about from week 1.
Yeah, and injured and insult. He gets 1 target again. I'm sorry. You can't.
So glad I moved him.
You cannot. Oh, I'm sure you are. You can't keep rolling this. You can't keep rolling this kind of guy with this kind of talent out here and you can't do this to Odell Beckham. I'm sorry. You just NFL, y'all can't allow this to keep happening because this is why you lose 15-10. When this guy gets 1 target, taken away from Jarvis Landry 10 targets for the game. Do you understand that Austin Hooper was the next leading one with 6?
It's not okay.
That's what I'm getting at. And then there's only 21 total run plays. 16 of them goes to Nick Chubb. 5 goes to Ernest Johnson. Only gets 4 after the monster week that he had. What happened to Kareem Hunt's carries? And what happened to those plays? Because that guy got swallowed up somewhere in this. We're going to spread the ball around to, 9 different receivers. Again, outside of Hooper and Jarvis Landry, they took up 16 targets. There's only a few other targets to go around amongst all of these other guys. It was just, overall to me, a very inefficient offensive day for Cleveland. It just, I don't know. I'm not exactly sure what's happening. I don't know if it's the fact that Baker Mayfield came back and he's just trying to get back, his legs back under him. I don't think that's really the case, but I'm just trying to play devil's advocate here, trying to figure out what in the hell happened. And yes, they have injuries, but I mean, damn it, Nick Chubb came back. Your biggest guy that you lost is back. And what happened? Just came out with a very conservative package on Sunday in Pittsburgh on the road. A divisional game, went to Cleveland, and again, like I told you, that's one of these sneaky good teams that love to upset you at the wrong time, and it's Pittsburgh, and then they come in there and they look like the Pittsburgh of old from a defensive standpoint. But I just thought it was a sloppy game for Cleveland. Cleveland is gonna have to address a lot of issues, and they need to address them now because. They're now they don't slip down to 500. They're 4-4. Quiet as kept. They are falling.
Yeah, no, they are. It's not looking good for Cleveland right now. They need to figure it out now. Like next week, they need to look like a completely different team. So we'll have to deal with that when it comes. Eagles completely rout the Lions 44-6. There's not much there. But a good game. Tennessee gets a road win versus the Indianapolis Colts. Sweep the Colts for the season series now. 34-31 in overtime. God, every single time I start talking about Carson Wentz, comes up and follows up with two bad interceptions to lose this game. And the funny thing is now this is giving credence to ESPN's whole narrative of just Carson Wentz is washed. But up until this point, he only had one turnover this entire season, with 2 sprained ankles, with the whole just all the injuries that are across this entire offensive line, offensive weapons. No T.Y. Hilton again, like just across the board. But he comes out there and now throws a really bad interception on the goal line to just give a touchdown to Tennessee, and then an overtime touchdown, overtime interception that I don't know what the point of throwing even to that side of the field was. There was 4 DBs on that side of the field. That means somebody is wide the hell open on the right side of the field.
I mean, yeah, true. I mean, but we're not under pressure like this guy is, and we're not being in pursuit. We don't know how much one of those hits really affect the brain, and you hear somebody coming, and man, you got to get rid of the ball.
Yeah.
But I thought overall, he had a great game. I know he had those 2 picks. I get that, but I mean, if you could look beyond these 2 plays, solid game. And when you have a 3-point loss in overtime, I know it was a backbreaker. But and now they slipped to 3-5. But I think the coaches are still there. I think they can right some of these wrongs relatively easier than some of these other teams, like how we just said respectively, like Cleveland. I think Cleveland has bigger issues than what's going on in Indianapolis. But Indianapolis did give up the sweep.
Yeah.
So they basically, in essence, gave up the division. So they are playing definitely for a wild card spot. And
like, by no means are they out of it. It's just this is a game you have to have if you're looking to compete for the division, and you cannot drop a game that's this close. I understand the one that you dropped in Tennessee. You were completely decimated by injuries. You're on the road. It's just a tough out. But this one you gotta have. You have to play way better than like this. There is no excuse for this loss besides Carson Wentz. Like you this is a game you have to win. And I am really excited to see that Frank Reich came out and just said straight up, we understand, like, yes, we still believe in him, but he understands. He even came to, like, he said he even came to Frank Reich and was just like, that's 100% my fault. Like I have to fix it. It's on me. Whereas before, most of the losses this year really weren't his fault. He was putting them in positions to win games that were very close, very competitive. A missed kick here, just a bad play, a bad fumble from a teammate there. Defense not making a stop at a critical moment. Just across the board, there are a lot of other places that you could put blame. This one solely falls on him, where two drives in a row, 2 drives, you have to not you cannot give up plays like that to Tennessee and expect to win games. Tennessee is they're a team that's kind of on the fence as well for me. And they've had a couple of close wins that are, some are questionable, some like, okay, that was a nice win there. But some are just like, okay, you kind of squeaked it right on by. You have a couple of questionable losses, like to the Jets. Like you're at a point where it's just like, okay, Tennessee, like I still don't know what you are. Like your record says 6-2, but do I feel that way about you? Like,
yeah, I'm. It's like when 6-2 looks in the mirror and see 3-5. It's like, yeah, and I 100% understand your sentiment. I don't know what that team is right now. They're not sneaky good. They're kind of good. They kind of average. It's just they're chameleon. They just kind of blend in from week to week around their environment. You just don't know what team this is going to show up from week to week when it comes to Tennessee. And now, for the caveat of Tennessee, I give it to you, King Henry.
Yeah.
So King Henry goes down. Was it?
Don't even know when.
I don't either. It was. No breaking news, no reports. I mean, I did not have the luxury of being able to see this game on Sunday, but had no indication that anything even happened to this guy. And then come Monday morning, breaking news, and I'm like, I think what's more startling is like I didn't even know he was on the injury report, let alone he's potentially out for the season. But So yeah, when I say we don't know what this team is gonna look like, we really don't know what this team is about to look like going forward now because now Henry is out indefinitely. Not sure if he's coming back this year.
Well,
Maybe, maybe.
he's having surgery, so he's going to be out for quite some time. There is a they're holding out hope that he can make it and return for the playoffs. But realistically, any doctor that's saying that they think it's the fifth metatarsal injury. I think it's called a Jones fracture, more commonly known. Um, it's something where any doctor who's looking at this is just like, no, he's done. But you have Tennessee's medical staff trying to just say, well, we don't know yet. We can see how he progresses through rehab and whatnot. And he could potentially return back. Like, it's a very slight chance. And honestly, the chance really is just if they make it to the Super Bowl, maybe he's available to play there. But are you making it to the Super Bowl without Derrick Henry?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean,
we'll see.
I mean, we want to go ahead and go in Wayback Machine, and we bringing up Mr. Adrian Peterson. So
yeah, which last time we saw him, he I think played 6 games, had almost 700 yards. So
that is true.
I mean, he's not
like he did that in Detroit, people.
Yeah, he has not looked bad any time that he's played. I don't know why he. I mean, obviously now he's older. I get it why he wasn't on the roster before, but still, there's some questionable running backs in the league right now where you're just like, all right, dude, why do you have a job and AP doesn't?
Yeah, that's one way of looking at it. I look at it as franchises. Jacksonville, Jets. Really, you couldn't use this guy at no point.
No, not at all. Why would we ever do that?
Yeah. I'm sure that a stunt.
Trying to win? What?
I'm sure that a stunt Michael Carter's growth some kind of way. Because I mean they only just let Mr. Frank Gore retire last year. But
speaking of Jets, they actually got a win this last week.
No, they didn't.
They
did. Couldn't have.
Nope. 34-31. Mike White.
Don't believe it.
The generic boy himself comes out there. Is the get this, Jets. You guys have currently this week the leading pass thrower in the NFL.
Oh God.
He had the most yards out of any quarterback this week. And he did that all in regulation, by the way.
Okay, all right.
405 yards, 3 touchdowns, 37 for 4. They went out here and wrote up a game script that had Mike White throwing 45 times this game. And he came out there and he got it done. Michael Carter, 15 carries for 77 yards and a touchdown. So they come out and they win this game 34-31. Major comeback in the fourth quarter. This is one of those another defense kind of implodes on itself in the fourth quarter because they had complete command of this game leading up to this, and now they just fourth quarter bottom falls out for Cincinnati. Turnover by Joe Burrow, the interception, not good. Gives them a prime opportunity to come right back into this game, and boom, they get that touchdown, and they're off to the races there.
Seemingly the Jets kept the momentum and their focus going just a little bit longer than they usually are accustomed to doing. And what we ended up seeing happen or play out was there was 2 teams that showed up that were due. One was due to win, one was due to lose at this point. Because let me be clear. I became a believer of that. The Bengals can be that clutch type of team. And, just because when all the chips are on the line don't mean that this team is going to fall apart. Like I'm accustomed to seeing them do in the past, or they'll just let the game get away by, early third quarter. And, they just can't hang with their competition. I don't sit here and want to sit there and say that the Jets turned the page all of a sudden and figured it out. And I just don't think that's what happened. But, I mean, the Jets were more and overly due for a win. And, I mean, they have played some clunkers and some throughout this year, but they have played a few games. They had some inspired football that they put out there and yet still came up short because they're the Jets. I mean, it's what it is. Sunday afternoon was not that day. And for the Bengals, again, when you can go into Pittsburgh and go into Baltimore and win in the same season, okay, I can't recall a season that has ever happened
Yeah.
in my history. So I'm thinking, so I'm only everything's pointing to, y'all should be winning a game like this, but it also tells me they're due for a letdown at some point. I just did not would have ever imagined it was going to be against this team here. So
Not against a team that lost their quarterback, just signed Joe Flacco, and has been reeling all season long. I mean, this was a
mastery. It was masterful art of misdirection because we're gonna just bring in Flacco. We're not gonna play him. We have no intentions of playing this guy. We're never gonna mention who our number 2 guy. Remember, and I said this like, it must be really bad if you're going to sit here and bring in Joe Flacco. And which you left me with the question: who is their backup though? Because it wasn't like they was running with one quarterback on their roster, and you didn't know who it was. I didn't know who it was, and then come Sunday, we all of a sudden I'm hearing about what is it? Mike White.
Mike White.
White Mike. Got it. So White Mike come out there and I mean it took the NFL, bye week by storm. Like, look here.
The funny thing is that you look at, because I'm looking at ESPN right now. You see his name, Mike White, QB, New York Jets, and then you see his picture. You're like, this is a Madden like auto-generated quarterback. In it's like, and the funny thing is that this dude has been in the NFL for 4 years now.
No, not at all. Nah. You mean QB? What's his number?
I don't even know.
I'll just say QB 7,
number 5,
QB 5. That's it. Don't even get a white on the bottom online. It's just QB 5, New York Jets. Like something like that, like some generic designation. This guy, come on, man. Who is this guy?
So
37. The question: 45. Are you serious?
The question would be: is this a now controversy in the New York Jets, or is this more Cincinnati? This was just like they fumbled it. This is just a bad off day.
Can we say both? I would like to say both.
You think there's okay?
No. I don't think there is controversy. I think there should be because let me be clear. Up until this point, Zach Wilson's a miss. I'm sorry. I understand. Yeah, we want to develop him. The Jets have no equity in this area. None. Until they do it, I could say miss me. I'm not even listening. It's just
the reason why I think this has opened up the door to QB controversy in the New York Jets is, first of all, it's the New York Jets. There's always QB controversy for one, but this is the first time since Robert Saleh has taken this job that we've actually seen him excited the way that he was in San Francisco. You saw that get up, the crazy yells when they get a defensive stop. We saw him just like on the sideline throwing his headset. Like, we saw that defensive coordinator Robert Saleh come out for the first time, and we've saw stoic, I'm the leader of men type of head coach all throughout the time that Zach Wilson has been the quarterback for these last 7 weeks. And then week 8, we finally get the dude that they hired. Like, the reason why they hired is because this dude gets guys going, and he got this fourth quarter. He got the Jets going. I think that his excitement himself really got them going. And the other thing that got me was the fact that Zach Wilson wasn't on the sideline, even being injured. He was up in the booth with the offensive coordinator looking at the game.
Very interesting. And yeah, it's a lot of moving parts going on here. Like, again, we got Mike White. They bring over, they sign and bring over Flacco. Flacco's obviously got to learn the playbook.
Yeah.
Again, or the new one.
Does he?
Or the new one.
He was
he was there.
He was there last year. But it's Robert Saleh, so it's a different place.
That's what I'm saying. I'm looking.
You got me there.
But it's the Jets. That's what I'm getting at. It's like, it's the most. Can they do anything simple or easy? They can't. And then there's this Josh Johnson. He even came in for 4 snaps. So they obviously had a number 2 and a number 3. So they definitely wanted to bring Flacco in, which it relates to me that they wanted to bring Flacco in to make sure that they had three quarterbacks on hand.
Yeah.
Period.
Well, they need I think when you lose a guy like Zach Wilson, you need to have that veteran presence. You can't just have these two
Right.
Madden auto-generated guys sitting there
Right.
leading the
And
hell.
now Mr. White blows up,
Yeah.
for this one. Hey, take it for what it's worth. He blows up, and I mean, the offense just opens. Michael Carter, I would say he is the MVP, but I'm like, damn. I mean,
It's got to be Mike White.
Mike White is. I mean, unfortunately,
405 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Exactly. Without Mike White, you don't have Michael Carter. So
Yeah.
it's just kind of one of those. But Michael Carter had. I mean, if there was even, if there had to be a co MVP, oh my goodness, these two guys, I mean, just they tore a hole into the Cincinnati defense, and I mean, even Jamison Crowder showed up, and I mean, Mike White had 10 different receivers when it was all said and done. I didn't even know you can throw that to that many people in the course of a game.
No, it's tough. It's tough to do.
And yet he did. He got it done.
It's tough to do that and win. You can do that in a loss pretty easily.
Right. And I mean, like you said, he did it all in regulation, over 400 yards. He did have three touchdowns. He did have 2 picks, but unlike the Carson Wentz thing, it didn't cost them the game.
They weren't in critical moments, and they also just weren't egregious. Like
that's what I'm saying. You can have turnovers, but yeah, there's turnovers and there's some turnovers that, like, okay,
come on,
that cost us the entire damn game. And thank you for all the wonderful things we did, but this one play wiped all of that out. AJ Green. So,
all right, let's talk
AJ
about
Green award here.
Let's talk about
but
the
congratulations,
Rams.
Jets.
I mean, I'm not even congratulating the Jets. I'm congratulating Mike White. That was the Mike White show. I mean, that was an insane. I mean,
come on. The Jets defense holds the
them to 31. Oh my god!
Now. They, he ain't out there by himself. Somebody got to stop them from
We're
scoring
just out
70.
there. We suck. Rams take on the Texans on the road. They get a win, 38-22. This looks much closer than it really was. So there's really not much to talk about here. They got all 22 in the fourth quarter. Complete garbage time.
It was garbage time. 100% garbage time.
They got
Fantasy,
absolutely ramrodded.
Thank you, I had to go against that defense, and I'm like, oh yeah, run them points up. Thank you. Right. Moving on. That's all I have.
Yeah. Well, there's not much to talk about there. Patriots, though, they get a very solid win versus the Chargers. I don't have much on this game because I was not able to watch this one, but Patriots 27-24. Any notes?
I want to say, can we call this what it is? This was an upset.
Oh yeah, I completely agree.
They got a nice victory on the road. I'm like, this was an upset victory. I'm just want to make it a point that the Patriots had no business winning this game, and yet they won it. And I don't have strong notes. I'm shocked. What is going on with your Chargers team? That's what I want to know.
Not my Chargers.
Yeah, no, your Chargers team.
I'm a Justin Herbert fan.
You're a Chargers team, like I said.
No, I am a Justin Herbert fan. Just like me having respect for Aaron Rodgers does not make me a Green Bay fan.
Hey, you and your Packers, go ahead.
Don't even start with me. Justin Herbert, though, no. I don't. This was bad. They did lose both of their corners in this game. Asante Samuel went down with a shoulder injury. We'll talk about it in the injury report.
No, that's fine. That's
but they also lost their starting corner as well.
Just quick synopsis. I mean,
yeah, but it's just they really weren't in the second half able to get anything going offensively. I guess it's more of a testament to New England's defense, maybe. I didn't get to watch the game, so I have no big synopsis on this.
No,
I can't really diagnose what happened.
This was one of the. I think you brought it to my attention that New England won. I'm like, wait a minute, and I had to go back and look. Like, you got to be kidding me! Like, how in the world did they win this game? And yeah, I followed just maybe the first quarter, and I didn't follow much else of this after that. And so I don't have anything big to say about this, but yeah, it's Mac Jones, and this Mac Jones Bill Belichick thing is really like, I mean, man, when you want to see like a student teacher, mentor mentee type element, you're seeing it right here. Mac Jones has no touchdown passes, no turnovers, but he just game managing his way through through the game. Like he just came off they just came off scoring 54 points last week.
Yeah, they completely just annihilated the Jets last week, and then come back and play a very, very solid game here against
Yeah.
against the Chargers. So
I would say conservative, but
I mean,
kind of controlling the game is kind of a little different. So
my biggest thing is that Mac Jones is. I don't think he works anywhere else but New England, and it just so happened that New England got him.
I think you're right, because if he's not utilized right, or like he's just thrown out there like a Trevor Lawrence and just go, oh my God, he's gonna look horrible.
This is not going to be the same in Jacksonville. This is not the same in Chicago. This isn't the same even with the Jets. Like it's just not the same. You have to have the perfect system for him, and their dink and dunk Tom Brady playbook is exactly what he needs. And it's either going to be him or Jamar Chase for Offensive Rookie of the Year. I think it's far and away those. I don't think there's any. I mean, besides Justin Fields getting Chicago to the playoffs, I don't think there's any way there's anybody else that's going to compete for Offensive Rookie of the Year.
No, it just. I mean, we can almost say it's almost like baseball. They're just on cruise control. Just continue to go out there and do whatever you're doing. You should win this. I mean, they've blown the competition out of the water. There's such a disparity. Like
it's like back and forth every week. Those two just will make something crazy happen that makes one of them look like they're going to be Offensive Rookie of the Year. I honestly have I haven't made any determination on which way I'm leaning. I know we're getting close to the middle of the season, and I think we will start looking into those award races soon. But
I think when we get a little more closer to Thanksgiving, we can have a better synopsis as to where we are, and maybe a third candidate will pop up.
Maybe.
Yeah, I won't hold my breath on that. Yeah.
Like I said, I think the third candidate would be a team because I feel like Chicago's the only other team that could. I mean, I guess San Francisco, but Trey Lance isn't starting, so I would say Chicago would be the only. Justin Fields would be the only other rookie that could possibly get into that conversation.
At this point, I mean, super dark horse. I'm saying super dark horse, and they would have to seriously turn it around starting this week. Jalen Waddle. That's the only other one I can throw out there. And I said that's why I said super dark horse. But I'm not even
because I just feel like Justin Fields can control so much more,
which he could, and that's what I was
why he could get back into it more than
he could. I just wanted to throw one name in the hat. That's one ballot. Take it to take it for what it's worth.
I mean, yeah, he has looked good even within the inefficiencies with that offense, so that's fair. Yeah, no, but with it coming down to the Patriots and the Chargers, though, this is a bad loss by the Chargers. This is another team just like Cleveland. You guys got to figure it out now. Like you can't, especially within the division that you're in. Like you have a wide opening right now with Kansas City looking the way that they are, and you cannot continue to drop games that like this. I mean, yes, you're still above 500 right now, and you just came off of a bye week. Can't lose trap games. If you want to call this a trap game, you can't lose trap games.
Right.
So
right. And then because the AFC West is wide open right now.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody that wants to take it, sub Denver.
Yeah, I said 3-team race.
3-team race, 100%. Sorry Denver, you are the Detroit Lions.
You don't have to
AFC.
say sorry Denver, and we'll get to it in the next segment. Denver definitely just said that they're giving up on the season. So we'll talk about
that. Enough said. What's wrong with Justin Herbert?
I don't know. I did not watch this game, but I think he needs to get back to playing free. Because I did see it in the game before their bye week. Mm-hmm. He's getting a little bit too tight. I think he's thinking too much. I think he needs to just play free, play within the offense. They need to stay freaking healthy, and have Austin Eckler kind of be that workhorse and kind of feed off of that. Right. But
can he handle being a workhorse though?
That's a good question. I don't know, but because I think they leaned on that so much at the beginning of the season, mm-hmm. and that's what helped him just play free. He was like, "Well, I can just go make plays as long as I can build off of this." And so he's still young. I mean, let's keep in mind this dude is in year 2. Like it's not like he's a 5, 6, 7 year vet. No, this is his second season. He's gonna have some growing pains. I think he's kind of hitting that sophomore wall where there are teams that have not figured him out per se, but they're starting to key in on some of the things that he likes to do, some of his go-to plays.
Where did I hear this before? I remember in our preseason thing, I think I said something very similar like this, but I'm not gonna go super hard.
I,
Go ahead. You're so humbly sharing. Go
I'm not.
ahead.
Granted, I'm not saying I don't feel like if I remember correctly, I'm not saying that he's winning MVP this year or anything like that.
I never said. Oh
Okay,
yeah,
so
we didn't go there. We didn't go there. I was just. It was more to the sophomore slump, and you. I don't really see it going that way.
okay, all right. Well,
Okay.
but yes, there is a
Exception to the
there.
rule.
Well, there is a wall there, but there's always this even with rookies.
We're talking about 2 games now. Like
Yeah,
maybe
that's what I'm saying.
he
Like
hasn't
there's
hit a wall.
I'm saying like there's a little bit of a dip here, and it's really about the way that he reacts to it. I mean, I think we'll figure out a lot about Justin Herbert in this LA Chargers team in the next 2-3 weeks to see how they respond to these 2 games.
Why I brought that up? I asked you what was wrong with Justin Herbert. My answer to that for myself was I don't think anything's wrong with him, actually. But what I had noticed is they've been struggling now for 2 straight games.
Yeah.
They split by a bye week, which is really what's alarming. They come out and then they play this way, and I'm like, okay, what's going on with y'all offense, and why can't y'all seem to figure it out? Because he's been sacked 5 times now in the last 2 games, and now I'm kind of questioning what's going on with that offensive line. That's
good question.
That's what I'm, because that was a big claim to claim for them this year is Justin Herbert's coming back. They just strengthened and bolstered up their offensive line. They picked up some key defensive members. They really retooled this team ready to be able to compete more so than any credit I was giving them in the offseason because I had them down at 20 going into the season really on the power rankings guys because I was just like I have to see y'all do something for me to really think that y'all really that team, and most teams just don't show up overnight unless you're San Francisco. And but you just don't see that ever, so when you do see it, I'm sitting here like I don't believe, I'm just sitting here all season like I don't know when to jump in on these teams and be like, okay, they're good. And and yeah, they're I mean, my God, they're 4-3 now. Like all these teams were like game busters 3-4 weeks ago,
Yeah.
and then the last month, I don't know what's happened, but I ain't saying that the Chargers have been found out. But this New England game coming off a bye week at home,
it's
in
alarming.
a loss. I have that's what I'm sorry I'm taking a little extra time, but I'm like I'm giving my due to a team that I'm really not even that I'm not even that big on the Chargers, but that is a glaring hole of we need to look at this.
Yeah.
We need to discuss.
I mean, like I said,
here.
I think we'll figure out a lot about them in the next couple of weeks, seeing how they respond to these last 3 weeks and how they'll hopefully get back on track because I want to see the Chargers and because this is a young team, I want to see this Charger team win in crunch time. Right. When you're getting into later November, like Thanksgiving on, I want to see how they respond in those key games late in the season, November and in December.
6, 7 weeks,
yeah, where it's just going to get so hard. And now leading into January, we got 2 games in January this week. This year,
the 9th.
Yeah,
that's what I'm getting at. Like when we were looking at really championship football now,
yeah.
And some of these teams like these Chargers and your Cleveland Browns, the Cincinnati Bengals now.
Yeah,
it's just like okay, stop. Where are we at in the NFL right now? Because nothing. I mean, is this what parity really looks like? Because I mean, like, geez, we sound like idiots. Because nothing lasts. Everything's weak.
But I think also a lot of people, you got to realize this is the NFL. The whole adage is it's any given Sunday. One loss isn't going to do you in. It's how you respond after those losses and how you get back on the horse after September and in early October. How you respond to things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I think we've divulged enough.
Yeah, we can move on. I just wanted to give my due. To the Chargers. I'm trying to be fair here.
Well, Jacksonville, this is an abysmal game. You lose 7-31 against Seattle. They didn't even have Russell Wilson. Come on, Jacksonville.
Are we really surprised? I mean, I know you were swinging for the fences on your pick, but
you did it too.
Apart from that,
you took Jacksonville.
Did I take Jacksonville?
You took Jacksonville.
No, I did not take no Jacksonville.
Yes, you did.
Tell me I didn't do that. Y'all hold on, people. I got to look at this.
You took
Oh
Jacksonville, sir.
no, I took Seattle.
We'll have to go back to the show last week
That's Seattle.
to confirm that. Well, I write it down as you say it, so
Circle it as I pick it.
we'll listen to last week's episode to confirm.
Pick no dang Jacksonville.
I think you did.
No, I think I didn't.
Washington though loses to the Broncos. We both did pick Washington on this one, and that was
No, I didn't know.
Denver though gets back on their horse, 17-10.
Did they really?
It's a win. They're 4-4 now, kind of like Carolina. So the both teams that we still have no real bearing on.
No.
I guess
going into week 9, this is not good
Yeah.
analysis. I apologize, but
there's not much. The
not
game
giving us a lot
sucked.
to
They
work with.
didn't play well, and just Washington played worse. That's literally all that game was. So
I don't have anything to add to it.
Yeah.
Teddy Bridgewater survived, and I guess that's a win.
Well, a quarterback who didn't is Jameis Winston, but they still got the win. The Saints winning 36-27. This game was interesting to say the least.
Yeah. Well, you already know my take. Tampa Bay. I'm shocked.
Tom Brady lost to freaking Trevor Siemian, guys.
And Jimmy. But I'm just. What is the perfect Jameis Winston revenge game? I know we were like,
it is.
Look, Tom Brady took your job. I understand, took your championship. I couldn't say that with a straight face. Took your championship. They didn't even keep you on as the backup. Come on. I'm just making a point. Like, look, this is the Jameis Winston revenge game, and then Jameis Winston go out there and get a season ending.
It could be career ending. It could
be career ending. And then come on, Jameis.
Because it's not just an ACL tear. He also has MCL damage. Those are two big things about this.
Yeah, we'll see him next year. So
yeah,
he ain't come back anytime soon. I ain't gonna say if at all, but he ain't coming back anytime soon. Cause look, if
we might not even
if
see
Alex
next year.
Smith can come back,
true.
I'm sorry.
That's a fair point.
That one at that point was the difference. If that guy can come back, look, I have full confidence we'll see you within the next year or two.
Props to modern medicine.
Absolutely.
Jesus Christ.
There's no way in hell that dude should have been on the field. But hey,
but with this game
works.
though,
but moving on. Sorry.
this was I still can't fully wrap my brain around this game. It was weird. It was weird to watch because just Tom Brady making mental mistakes, which is what we said last year was coming into a game with the Superdome. It's just they need to figure it out there. They haven't been able to build that chemistry yet, type of thing. But no, they definitely have at this point. And now looking at it, it's just like, okay, how do you lose a game like this? I thought that the defense would get after him, which they did. They did make some pressure on him. They did make him force some throws in certain areas, and they picked him off and got a pick six and made him Mr. Not So Perfect out there. They really made it tough for them to make plays, which is funny because Tom Brady was still 28 for 40 and 375 yards and 4 touchdowns.
That is absolutely true. Which
he didn't have a bad game by any means.
No, and do we say? Definitely, we gotta look. If we're looking at anything to critique from Tampa's side of the ball, it has to be the defensive side.
Oh yeah,
because that's where it all went down. But we
I was
already
thinking
know
about freaking Chicago doing.
But we already know there's an issue in Tampa Bay with their secondary, but their front seven has been able to sustain them along with a high-powered offense and the championship aura of a Tom Brady. It has covered this up, and New Orleans said, "Bump that. We don't care. We've been exposed this." NFL. This is the game film of game films that you want. If you want to try to figure out how to beat a championship team or how to beat specifically Tampa Bay, follow this model right here. Because I'm only saying that to say I don't think there's much material out there for people to come up with schemes and say, I think this is what will work for us. Okay, you might go out there with that, and then when it's 48 to 22 later, at the end of the game, and then you're sitting there wondering what went wrong. You need to watch this good game film because New Orleans defense was able to put up enough pressure to, one, keep the game close, and keeping when I say keeping the game close, come on, man. Brady with 375 and 4 touchdowns. You thinking that, and they only scored 27 points?
Yeah.
That's defense.
No, sorry.
That's
375 and 4 touchdowns.
I say 3.
Yeah, he had
I'm
4
sorry,
touchdowns.
4. I'm looking at the looking at
Yeah.
4. And 4 touchdowns, and you only have 27 points. It defies. Just the numbers are just turned on its side at the moment. My point is, I think coordinators really need to study this film and really try to figure out.
I think they will. I think this is going to be one of those things. I think what this game reminds me of is if you go back to 2018, I believe, 2018, when Chicago beat the LA Rams. And the Rams were on a tear. They were beating everybody in the league. They had just come off of that Monday night game with Kansas City where they put up 105 points combined or something like that.
It was, what, 54-51?
Yeah, insane game. But then Chicago comes back the next couple of weeks on I think a Sunday night game and absolutely shut down the Rams. And this game reminded me specifically of that, where you have just nothing special about their offense, nothing special about the defense.
Mm-hmm.
It was just, we're not going to it was just gritty. It was a gritty game. It was back and forth, and it just so happened to turn out into the home team's way. Like, it just was one of those games where it's like, okay, you're definitely not out on Tom Brady. You're not out on Tampa Bay and their offense. You're not out on any of that. You are concerned about their defense a bit, but they can still win games. It's just, you're not going to win them all. And hey, now you have a little bit of a script of actually how to attack this team a little bit more to make life difficult for them. Make them go out and win the game. Don't have them just come out there and not lose it. I think there's a fine line, but there's a big difference there.
Yes, 100% agree. I don't want to add anything else to that though.
All right.
Congratulations, Saints. Yep, that's another one I got wrong. Tampa Bay, I didn't think. I didn't know y'all didn't have that in you. So.
Let's just finish things off with these last two primetime games. I think this one's going to be fast. Minnesota, you suck. I agreed. I didn't rebuttal against you saying that. They're 3-4. And you lost a game to Cooper Rush.
Yeah, at home.
Hell yeah, this was in Minnesota.
Mike Zimmerman. I know it's getting warm in there now. I know it's getting warm.
Warm? I think this thing is cranked up to 11, and that water is boiling.
It should be. I guess the sports media hasn't caught up to it just yet, but it's coming.
It's funny. I had a coworker literally just yesterday ask me, it's like, Minnesota fire Mike Zimmer? I was like, dude, I've been saying this for 2 years now. Like, come on. Like,
I want to say 2 years, but about last year, I think the conversation should at least started last year.
I thought this conversation should have started 2 years ago. I think he should have been fired last year. Like, that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
This is what I keep saying. For everybody who keeps telling me Kirk Cousins, his numbers are this, his numbers are that, I'm sorry. Show me it in prime time, and then I'll believe you. Because at the end of the day, playoffs is all prime time. When it actually matters, it's all prime time, and this dude can't do it. You just can't play in prime time. You got outperformed by Cooper freaking Rush in prime time at home. Like, this dude didn't even know he was playing until literally hours before the game.
Right.
Until about like 3:00 on Sunday. He didn't know he was playing yet.
Yeah, I mean, completely outplayed Kirk Cousins. I don't have nothing to say about Kirk Cousins. You notice I've never say much because it ain't nothing need to be said. I wasn't impressed after he had like a 2-year window in Minnesota with me. I'm giving you the first 2 seasons, and that came and went, and I was just kind of like, okay. Overpriced game manager. I thought he was a good move when they made it. I seen what I needed to see. Minnesota has a history of pulling the plug on these quarterbacks anyway, and yet for some reason
they won't pull the plug on him.
They won't do it on this guy. But you know what? man, I see your struggles. I see, I know I see the potential that's there, and I know we got a couple of bad breaks. How about we just give you an extra $80 million to help you out for your troubles? And don't worry about it. Relax and just. I get the philosophy. It didn't work, people. He's still playing the exact same way. Can he have flashes of these great games that they plan or they want to pay him all his money for? Yes,
at
but
noon.
He's always been that guy.
He can only do it at noon. He cannot do it in prime time. He can't.
This is a stat I do not follow, by the way. It's fascinating you keep bringing it up because I'm going to have to look into this. I mean, I'm not saying it doesn't happen. Well, all I'm saying is I don't follow this guy enough to even care to want to know this, but I want to know because you're talking about it because you bring it up all the time. But the caveat to that is, look, y'all got to move on. I'm talking about coaching staff, head coach, head quarterback. They all have to go. They have to start over because basically all you're gonna do is you're about to get ready and kill Dalvin Cook's career here because. It is what it is. You don't have a quarterback. You hear what I'm saying. Y'all don't have a quarterback. I'm just don't throw that out there. I'm gonna leave it at that. Minnesota don't have a quarterback and y'all not about to have a coach soon. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. They're 3-4. Yeah. Minnesota gonna have to explain to me why they're 3-4 and why. And this is me, the Bears fan, talking. Why Chicago's 3-5. I know why Chicago's 3-5. Yeah. Why are you all 3-4? Because I did not know Matt Nagy was on y'all coaching staff. I did not know, I did not know that y'all had the Bears GM over in Minnesota this year.
Yeah.
Because that's fireable offenses, right, as far as I'm concerned. So Minnesota, unlike, Chicago, and to you Minnesota fans out here who want to keep trying to haze, and did you see what happened to your team? Did you see what happened to yours? I think y'all in first. I think Minnesota's in a far worse spot than what Chicago is in right now. So, I'm speaking from a divisional aspect. I'm speaking this just from a divisional standpoint. I just think Minnesota's in a much worse condition right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think because for me, Minnesota is definitely trending down. And because I keep saying it, I will give you his official record: 8-17 in primetime games in his entire career. Not good. 0-7 on Monday night. And they keep trying to say that, like, how do you think that he is going to be the guy that is going to win you NFL games, win you NFL playoff games, if he can't even be 500 in primetime games? When everybody is actually watching him, when the entire country is watching him, he never performs.
Well, you just pulled up the numbers. I can't explain it. But again, like what most people have seen, and even Viking fans alike, this guy is not the guy.
No.
And definitely not for the price that they got him at.
Not at all. And also, if you want to talk about his career, I mean, I know this game was at home, but his road record is pretty atrocious as well. 12-23-2 on the road. I'll leave it there. They
have some major decisions to make in the offseason. Major.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the trade deadline just came and went.
And they didn't do anything. Monday night happened, though, and Chiefs back on track, back at 500, 4-4, 20-17. How much was your heart beating going into the fourth quarter of this game?
Not beating from being worried. I was
or did
furious.
You flatline at that point? The entire time, I didn't text you during this game because I knew you were watching it. I knew you were keyed in on it.
I was done at halftime, 14-10 at the half. Like, you was freaking serious? You got the I mean, if I'm the Giants, I know as obnoxious as it would sound, I'm all in the locker room with the Giants. Like, look, man, we got them. We finna take it to the. I mean, you could have to have all the confidence in the world. Now, you didn't win, but the point being is, what the hell, Kansas City? 20-17. They just got out of there. They just escaped and got out of there at home. They got out of there.
By the way, they were down 17-14 for quite some time in this game.
Oh, I know. I watched this whole entire game. I am freakingly unimpressed with this team. Disenchanted is the word.
So here's one thing. the turnovers, the second interception, that's on Patrick Mahomes. I'll leave that one there.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna dispute that by any means. I'm sorry, Jerick McKinnon. Did that ball hit you in the face?
I think it did. You know, and you know, can I, it's official. I'm done with Jerick McKinnon. The Jerick McKinnon project didn't work because guess what? Y'all not trying to use him anyway. And this little, we're gonna bring him out there for this little four play package thing. Sorry, he's not that kind of player. I'm not saying that he's bad. He's bad in whatever scheme y'all doing because it does not work. Yeah. So I mean, if we just waiting around for the next man to go down, damn, that's a hell of a reason to bring this man up. You know what I'm saying? His value is not valuable.
Well, I don't think that's gonna happen anyway because they've got Elaire coming back soon. So,
and I mean, who the hell is Derek Gore?
God, you're telling me I'm over here with Darrell Williams on my fantasy team, and this vulture is over here stealing touchdowns.
I mean, look, I mean, we just doing a quick fantasy segue. If there was ever a vulture, this was it right here.
I was so pissed because the second that he came in, I was like, okay, he just needed a quick break. They're bringing in this dude that they just brought up, and then you hear Steve Levy talking about how, oh, they've brought this guy along and they're really in love with him, and I'm like, who is? I've never heard of it. I've been watching Kansas City the last few weeks and I haven't heard of this
him
dude.
Being on the depth chart.
And then all of a sudden he gets 3 plays in a row, and I was like, hold on, when did this dude become anything? I've never heard of him. I'm sitting here with it, and this is coming from a Darrell Williams owner right now. Mm-hmm. Like, what? And Darrell Williams was not playing bad. I mean, he got me 10 fantasy points in his game where
13
he was just
for 49. Derek Gore 11 for 48. So all of a sudden they have a split carry system. They have never had this all season. They didn't even have this when CEH was in the game.
No, I was so confused.
And where the hell was Jerick McKinnon? That was my whole point why I even brought him up. That's like true. He didn't get one registered run. That's what I mean by like that. This. I'll let you finish the Gore thing, and I'm going back to McKinney.
No, it was just with the Derek Gore. I mean, like, nice Kansas City. You got another dude now, I guess, but it's just like, where was this last week? Where was this the week before? Because if this dude was this good, why were you not utilizing him with Darrell Williams the last few weeks while you have Clyde Edwards-Helaire out?
I don't know. That's what it made no sense to me because when I seen it, I was like, am I seeing the wrong number? Like what? No, and I said, no, this dude there's a 40 on his back. Like, I'm like, who is this? And they like, oh, Derek Gore.
It was like Frank Gore's son. I said it was, is this Frank Gore's
son, a nephew or something? Like, who is this guy? I'm sorry.
By the way, he's not. There's no relation to Frank Gore, by the way.
I'm just throwing it out there. When you can't, man, when the Chiefs start bringing out people I don't know, I'm just
it's confusing.
Whoa!
I was going to text you about it, but I was like, the fantasy week is lost to me anyway, so I just let it be.
Absolutely.
Stop. But I was just like, because I was really wondering, like, do you know who this dude is? And I was just like, I was at a loss for words when he went off. I was just like, okay, whatever. I can't, like, I was meant to lose this week if this is going to be the case.
It was just one of those when it was Murphy's Law. Nothing was gonna go right, and I mean, which is interesting because I've never on the opposite side of it. Like I am. This is the first time I got to witness this in a competition. I'm like, is this what it feels like? I don't know what to feel.
Granted, if you want to, if you guys want to understand why he's saying that, I lost Dak Prescott, lost Dawson Knox this week. Like everybody is gone. The week before I thought it was bad. This week, having guys back, it was even worse.
Darrell Williams vulture game. It was just yeah. I was just like, wow. They give you no opportunity.
DeAndre Hopkins, nothing. Five total points for me. 2 receptions, 66 yards.
No throw. What was that? Kyler Murray, no touchdown game.
Yeah.
Followed by a Teddy Bridgewater, very subpar 1 touchdown game. That just pretty much evened itself out. So it just anything that could have went wrong, it went wrong. So if you even tried to look like you was trying to get back into it, something else would have went wrong. So it
granted though, by the way, not the lowest score this week. So even with that, my team is not horrible.
I told you. You had nothing to worry about. Go ahead, Sea Panthers.
Yeah. All right. Well, that is going to do it for the recap of last week. Just congrats to the winners this week. Big winner this week is I would say is the Eagles. absolutely demolishing Detroit. But
Gosh.
biggest loser this week, Cincinnati. No, Indianapolis.
Hmm.
Indianapolis.
I
Um,
was gonna say Kansas City in a win.
no, no. All right.
Not impressed.
Well, let's take a break.
What is going on? What is that? I thought we was in a public bathroom all of a sudden. Man, thank goodness it wasn't much.